If you want a simple scalping system, you got to have the right tools. And today in this video, I'm going to show you two tools that I like to use whenever I am whenever I'm scalping the market. So one of the tools that I will show you here first is the gravity zone. So the gravity zone is a very simple breakout tool. Above the green line here, we go buy. Above the red line, we go sell. Those are the two specific assets that we are looking to or the two specific sides of the market we're going to trade. The next thing is you got to see this teal candle. So this is an indication that we are interested in a sell position, because what it's going to do is it actually closes below this gravity zone. Essentially, the gravity zone is just a volume node. So you see all this volume right here. This is all volume that has just been going sideways in this particular price range. As soon as it breaks out, you get this candle right there. So that is the very first one. So the number one is the gravity, G-R-A-V. Let's just do that. And then number two, we're going to wait for this arrow down here. You see this red arrow. This is my coiled spring system. So that's coiled. And so that is number two. So we get two of those. That is where we are interested in a sell position. So in this particular case, what an insane move. Now it's starting to come back in, but we have already hit our target on our coiled system. We've already got our really solid alert here on gravity. That actually, I mean, what a move this was to the downside on the SPX 500. And so essentially what you want to do is in combination is you want to wait for both of these. So if you don't get both, so let's just say this, for example, we got this one right here, which is still a nice winner. That was a beautiful trade, but we didn't get that gravity zone. So we would have not have actually taken a sell side here because it just wasn't quite that. And honestly, this was a beautiful coiled spring trade, by the way. But I'm only looking for two confirmed signals at the same side, and so we need to have two sells. So this would have been a perfect example of this. And so you can use just one, but I like to use a combination of various tools. And so really what I'm doing with this system, with this easy, simple scalping system, is essentially I am waiting for a break of a volume node, number one, on a smaller time frame. So we are down here on the 10-minute time frame. So I'm waiting for the volume to break, to basically break out of this particular a node, which is essentially just a ton of just buying and selling pressure going back and forth. And essentially what's happening is that, and I can actually go here and draw this for you. So essentially what's happening, just think about price range, right? So price comes up, and then maybe it creates a resistance, and then it comes down, it creates a support. And then what happens along the way is this price just goes sideways. It just goes sideways and sideways, and there really isn't a lot of move. And so what ends up happening is that the volume on all of these positions, it goes up. And that's what creates that big volume node, that big volume level. And so what you want to do is you want to target breakouts of down here or a breakout of up here. And then essentially that is when you would get into a sell trade or a buy trade. So that's kind of the rundown of how this particular indicator would work and look on your chart. And so once we get one of those, we also wait for this coiled spring. And essentially what this is, it's going to, it has a combination of, it actually has 20 different elements that it needs to go sideways. It needs to have price action. It has to have volume. It has to have tension built up. And once there is enough elements to it, you'll get this signal. So yeah, this system, if you are interested in either one of these two systems, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a link for both of these below in the description and even in the comments. You guys could check these out. I love these things. This is a TradingView only system and indicators. I actually also do have alerts for these as well that you can actually grab if you get the indicators. So you can go ahead and check those out if you're interested. I love I love using what I like to do. And you know, honestly, with these systems, I actually like doing anywhere from 30 to an hour time charts, but or time frames. But for this particular use case, since we are scalping, since we're trying to find scalps in the market, we are going for that combination of 1 and 2. And so usually when you are a scalper, you are going to be glued to your charts. At least that's how I would consider a scalper, a true scalper of the markets, that you should be paying attention to the charts and watching them. So you shouldn't just be, okay, I'm going to scalp long here, go back to work, and then open up your trading, platform and, or, be like, oh yeah, I won or I lost. That's not really how scalping works. So this particular use case, this is why I combine two different elements, two different systems. Now, what I like to do with Gravity Zone is I can use it by itself on the higher time frames. And so on these higher time frames, I actually like it. I like it by myself. And honestly, Coiled Spring is really good by itself as well. But you can see with Gravity Zone that we have a much wider net now. So we have a much wider net, and we actually did have a breakout up here, but it just didn't want to go. But you can use Gravity Zone by itself. And so essentially right here, if we get below this sell level, see, this is a bigger volume node, and it does happen. A lot of the times this will happen, which is why I like to combine different tools, different elements. But we sometimes won't get that confirmation all the way up and hit this blue, I call it the blue sky zone. And so essentially this is all-time highs, and it's very difficult sometimes for the markets at all-time highs to break free from that. And so you'll see this a lot. You'll see this candle a lot when we're at all-time highs. But when we're in like a pullback zone and we break out, I mean, look out below. It is actually incredible. It's actually incredible what you can see some of these times. So if you guys are interested in this type of scalping system, let me know. Maybe what I could even do is do a little combination of these tools, and maybe even just create one central system that actually just has it, so they both have to be alerted. But so we have a lot of members that has multiple tools, and this is just one use case. This is just one example of just me finding a strategy for scalping and be able to actually get really solid trade plan and really solid trade idea. And I love it because it not only has one signal, but we actually have that combination of two, and it just makes it that much cleaner. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this video. Enjoy your week. We have a ton of crazy stuff happening here soon, so make sure you're paying attention to the markets, and I'll see you guys in the next video.